Okay, you're ready, Lisa.
Ready. Good evening, everyone. This is Lisa Toff, the School Board Secretary. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice has been provided by this Board Secretary by posting of notices with the Township Clerk of Logan, Gloucester County Times, and all board members having been notified. The reorganization meeting of the Logan Township Board of Education is being held virtually due to COVID-19. At this time, I would like to ask the three newly elected board members, Mrs. Reed, Mrs. Roan, and Dr. Bowen, to please read the oath for school board members that they received.
Let me just jump in.
Yeah, just the three of you can jump in and read it at the same time.
Okay.
I,
Kimberly
Brian Bowen,
Roan,
do solemnly swear that I will support
the
Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the government established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people. So help me God. I,
Alexis Roan,
Kimberly
Brian
Roan,
Bowen, do solemnly swear
swear
that I possess the
qualifications
prescribed by law for the office of a member of a Board of Education, and that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 1914-1, nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJS 18A 12-1, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all duties of that office according to the best of my ability.
So help me
So help
God.
me God.
Congratulations and thank you. Mrs. Can we please have a roll call?
Mrs. Kegler,
Yes.
Dr. Bowen,
Here.
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Here.
Mrs. Lombardo,
Here.
Mrs. Mason,
here.
Mrs. Reed,
Here,
Mrs. Roan,
Here.
Mr. Russell. I do not believe Mr. Russell has logged in.
Okay. Okay. At this time, I'd like to ask for a nomination for board president.
I nominate Carolyn Kegler.
I second the nomination.
Okay. And Ms. Bell, can I get a roll call to nominate Mrs. Kegler as the board president?
Mrs. Kegler, does she vote on her own behalf, Lisa?
I
I think she should.
Yeah.
You should.
All right, Mrs. Kegler,
Yes.
Dr. Bowen,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Mrs. Lombardo,
Yes.
Mrs. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Reed,
yes.
Mrs. Roan,
Yes.
and Mr. Russell is still absent.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Ms. Kegler. I now turn this meeting over to you, Mrs. Kegler.
And here we go. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your faith in me to be the president, and we'll carry on as we've done. At this point, I'd like to open the floor up for nominations for vice president.
I nominate Lene Hill.
Are there any others? Okay, do we have to have a roll call for this?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Can you do that, Sarah?
Yep.
Can we have a roll call and affirmation?
Yes. Mrs. Kegler,
Yes.
Dr. Bowen,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Mrs. Lombardo,
Yes.
Mrs. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Reed,
Yes.
Mrs. Roan,
Yes.
and Mr. Russell is absent.
Okay, we're moving.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Lene.
Thank you. Thank you for the nomination.
Okay, so we're going to move on to number 7, I believe, and that's the reading of the Code of Ethics. I'd like to ask you to please read the code if you haven't done so already. You can sign it and date it for the 6th of 2021. You can give it to Lisa or sign it virtually, or you can drop off the hard copy signed to her office. And Lisa has said that she'll be in the office on Thursday and Friday if you want to drop it off. Any questions about that? Okay, so we're moving on to number 8, and that's resolutions to be adopted. I think that, so the first one is A, 1 through 4. And then we have B, the notice of scheduled meetings. You'll see that listed there. Moving on to number 9, and this is appointments by the president. The Gloucester County School Board Association. Actually, John and I are both officers, but if there's anyone who's interested in representing us on the board, you're certainly welcome to. Do I have anybody else who's interested? This is our county association. Okay. The New Jersey School Board Association. Now, this includes the delegate assemblies, and I've been a delegate for about 6 years. If there's anyone else for this as well who's interested, you're certainly welcome. Is there anybody who wants to take this representative position here? All right, well, you can let me know later because you might enjoy it. Because we're all doing the Zoom meetings and the virtual meetings, it may not be as exciting, but going to the delegate assembly is, I think you get a good idea of what the whole school board association is about. Okay, next is Home and School League. Are you still willing to do that, Kristen?
I'm willing to, Carolyn, but I'm not really interested. I don't have children in the district, and I feel like someone who has children in the district and is involved in the school league should be taking over that position. However, if nobody else fills it, I'll take it.
Okay, well, let me ask
the
you.
Queensway representative. Like you have kids there, that might be good for you.
Well, I just don't have anyone home in school, so I mean I don't at Logan right now, so.
Well, that's true. So that I was looking at that, but is there anybody else who might want to take that on? Who else has kids though? Well, we have Alexis and Kimberly, and I'm just calling you out, aren't I? And Lene.
Okay. I was actually going to ask a question. Is there something, and forgive me for not knowing, is there something in our policy that states that we have to have an actual representative? Because I'm just wondering, based on what they do, can we not just ask them to come on and to provide us with an update or even a written one that can be read?
Well, I think the idea is that we have somebody who's acting as a not so much a buffer, but the liaison between the school board and them. So it is good to have a representative.
So Carolyn, I think when I get an update once a month, usually the night or 2 nights before, but there's no other connection. But in the past, the person that did Home and School was actively involved with Home and School because of their kids and the parties and all that stuff. Like, I just feel like I'm not actively involved in it. So it should be somebody who's actively involved, with them in the school.
I agree.
The Home and School
Who's that? Is that you, Lexus?
Yes.
Okay, so would you like to take that, be our representative? Very good, thank you then. So Alexis will be the new person for that. I appreciate that.
No problem.
The Finance Committee. Brian, are you still going to be on?
If someone else is dying to do it, I'll happily step aside.
Hmm.
So,
I
but if
I
no
don't-
one else is interested, I'll do it.
Okay. John, I think I just saw John join us.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll automatically assume he's going to do it.
And Carolyn, I believe as president, you have,
Well,
you know,
I did. Yeah, I put my name on the list because I certainly would want to do that, and we still need a fourth person. So,
Good.
is there anyone
I'll
else?
do it. I'll do it.
Is it Kim?
Yes, that's
Okay.
me. Sorry, Kim Reed.
All right, very good. Oh, that was easy. And Kristen, and you be our Kingsway representative because you've got Zach there, right?
I do have Zach there, but I think somebody else might be interested as well. So I think we have to vote.
Is there anyone? I don't think we have to vote, but is there anyone else who's interested?
I'm interested. This is
Oh.
Kelly. I'm interested.
Oh, okay. Well, then we may have to. How do we do that?
I'm definitely not going to arm wrestle over it. It's not a big deal. But if it wasn't, everybody was going tonight with different things. So, consider me interested. But if Kristen wants to take it, that works for me too.
Is that okay with you, Kristen?
It's fine.
Okay. All right. So, Kristen, it is. Do we have any alternates for that? I'm not sure. For example, if Kristen weren't able to do that, but you have to be sworn in there as well. Okay, I get it. All right, thank you. So we have our Kingsway.
Carolyn, can I just ask a question before? Did we say it was going to be Kelly or Kristen?
Kristen, Kelly said that if am I right, Kelly? If Kristen wanted it, we're fine, yes.
Okay, good.
So,
Okay, thanks.
So Kristen, Okay, moving right along, we are at number 10. And just before our action items, now I've lost my.
Would you like me to read it, Carolyn?
Would you please?
Yes.
No, because I was hiding my phone.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is the time for the public to ask questions on any items that are up for action items on the agenda. This assures the public has an opportunity to have input prior to action being taken.
At this time, we don't have any questions from the public.
Okay. All right, so if there are no questions, you see our action items are from A to F. With C, I believe it is, we're going to have to put Kristen's name in there, motion to appoint Kristen on C there. So all the other items are A through F. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay. And can we have a roll call?
Sorry, I'm sorry. Point of order. Sorry.
Okay.
Point of order. My apologies. So for item number F, based on the email that we received, this is just for the policy. This is not for the other information that may relate, correct? Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Is for the first reading of the policy, and the second one I think we have scheduled for our next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great.
Any other questions?
Excuse me, just Carolyn, you would need to ask a motion. A motion go ahead. You need to ask for a motion for the first approval and then a motion for a second approval, and then we go into roll call. A motion to approve.
So what I was going to ask for is a motion to approve the resolution, the items in the resolution, Lisa, and the action items from A to F. Is that okay?
Correct.
Lisa? Okay, that's
Correct.
all right. I have officially stated that. And may I have a motion? Who is that, Kristen?
Yes.
And second, please.
I second Kim.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Kegler,
Yes.
Dr. Bowen,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Mrs. Lombardo,
Yes.
Mrs. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Reed,
Yes.
Mrs. Roan,
Yes.
Mr. Russell.
Yes.
Okay.
Here I am. Okay, thank you. So it has been moved in second and those are approved. And now I need a motion to adjourn.
I move.
So moved.
I heard two at a time, so,
I second.
okay.
Hill.
And who's the first?
Kim.
Kim and Lunay.
Kim is first, okay. Okay, everyone, how about that for a fast meeting? And we've accomplished so much. I really appreciate it, and I'm really looking forward to just working with the board as we've done. I appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With that, I'll say good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.